What would you do with $40,000? If you're like me, I'm sure you can quickly come up with a few ways to spend it. A new car, pay off a credit card or two, home remodels, or even a down payment on a house. Whatever it is you came up with, I'm certain you didn't say paying for college. However, on average, $40,000 is what tuition costs for a 4-year degree for an in-state student at a public university. That number rises to $97,000 for an out-of-state student and $135,000 for a private school student. These numbers are for tuition only. Adding the expense for housing, books, and other necessities only makes these numbers higher. Over the last 20 years, college tuition has more than tripled. If these trends continue that same pattern, our children will be looking at $120,000 in debt just to get through college. Each year our tuition goes up, but our anticipated wages in the field we're studying for often don't. This poses a problem for all of us, except the very richest. Middle-class families don't often make enough to pay for their or their children's college, yet aren't quite poor enough to qualify for grants. Luckily, our government does offer financial assistance, which is subsidized loans for qualifying students. There are certain criteria that are factored in, such as your income. However, almost everyone who is enrolled in an accredited college program is eligible for financial aid. Typically, students get $5,000 their first year, $10,000 their second year, and so on and so forth. Although these are subsidized loans come with fixed interest rates, they typically aren't enough to pay for college. Most students attending a university need to take a private loan. Students need a cosigner, which is a steep risk for anyone. Interest rates for those loans aren't fixed, some near 7.5%. Graduates are required to begin making payments on these loans 6 months after graduation, employed or not. The average young college graduate between the ages of 21 and 24 makes just under $18 an hour, or $36,000 a year, per new data the EPI released in 2015. According to research done by Student Loan Hero, the average monthly payment for student loans is $351. As you can see, these numbers don't match up fairly. Therefore, we are seeing increasingly more college grads living at home while their parents most likely bought their first home at that age and for the same amount of today's college tuition. We need to put an end to the rise in this already outrageous trends of tuition. It's not fair that an honor student whose family can't afford college has to sit back and work towards his mediocre education, while there are rich families who will send their D-average student to some of the most elite schools. There needs to be a financial assistance that's available for everyone, and that will cover the cost of their total cost of schooling. A lot of this comes down to our government and who we elect in our offices. Most of the Democratic Party is considering ways to make education free to everyone. Of course, this raises another issue, the rise in taxes. Instead of the student paying for their individual education, we all pay for everyone's education. The Republicans are on the other side and want to cut the budget on education, giving less funding to state schools. I believe that what we need is employers to step forward and offer tuition assistance. Research shows that employers who help their employees pay for education offers a better outcome for the company and more satisfied employees. A study on workplace tuition assistance by Capella University, EdLink, and ROI Institute found that well-managed tuition assistance programs is one of the tools that employers are using to increase employee engagement. According to a 2008 Gallup research study, only 33% of employees in the U.S. are actively engaged in their jobs. This lack of employee engagement costs the U.S. upwards of $362 billion per year. Employees who have access to a tuition assistance and additional training and development return higher levels of performance and are less likely to leave the organization. This results in engaged employees who are more profitable and customer focused. These employers feel supported by their organization, enjoy their work, and are committed to their organization. A win-win for everyone. My current employer helps me pay for school, as long as I'm going to school for a degree in something they can hire me for after. Not only has this perk kept me employed at Meriter, it will keep me employed at Meriter. They will pay up to a certain amount each school year based on how much I work. After I graduate, I have up to 1 year to be able to find a position in my field. If after 1 year for some reason I'm still not employed with Meriter, I'm free to apply elsewhere. I encourage everyone to consider employers that will help pay for college. I am one of those who happened to fall through the cracks when it came to paying for college. When I first went to college right out of high school, I was only allotted $5,000 in federal financial assistance to go to school. I wasn't able to attend UW-Milwaukee even though I had my heart set on it for years. I used my $5,000 in federal assistance to pay for the first year at MATC, yet still struggled with other expenses. Luckily, with my editor's tuition assistance program, I could go to school without any extra loans. It also helps keep me on track. If you receive a grade below a C, you need to repay Meritor for that class. It makes me take work and school more seriously, not only making me a better employee, but a better student. If colleges and universities were just another consumer good like cars or clothes, we wouldn't worry as much about their costs. The rich pay for more of the best stuff, the poor pay less for the worst. That's the market at work. But higher education is both an individual and public concern. This graph shows student loans going up over the past 20 years and disposable income going up in green. As you can see, student loans has very much increased and disposable income has pretty much plateaued. This is just showing the increase in private loans in green, financial assistance in orange, and then the difference in interest rates in between all three.